capacity crowd, better than 60,000 turning out in Foxborough, still immersed in fog, although it shows signs of lifting. This is the first playoff game at home in New England since 1978, when the Patriots were beaten by the Houston Oilers. This afternoon, they are looking for a different outcome as the Pittsburgh Steelers take on the New England Patriots, the winner to face surprising Jacksonville in the AFC Championship game next Sunday. Today, a major test for Drew Bledsoe. Has had a career season, but still must prove that he can win the big game. Linebacker Chad Brown and that superb Steeler defensive unit will be coming at Bledsoe right throughout the day. It figures to be a Pittsburgh Blitz festival. And we welcome you. Hi, everybody. I'm Marv Albert, along with Randy Cross and Sam Weish. As we reported earlier on the pregame show, Jerome Bettis, despite that painful groin injury, will play, although, Sam, he is still hurting. And I would think that means more of Kordell Stewart in the game plan today.
Well, Mike Tomczak will start at quarterback, but Kordell Stewart took more practice snaps at quarterback than he has all this year. My guess is, though, that Bill Cowher says it will be a feel thing. There's no real plan, but the less you see of Bettis, the more you're going to see of Kordell Stewart.
And make no mistake, it's not a quarterback controversy in this deal. Neither quarterback's really good enough at this point to execute the whole plan of coordinator Chan Gailey, so they need everybody doing their job at the quarterback position.
And, guys, the only other playoff appearance in the career of Drew Bledsoe 2 years ago against the Browns. Patriots lost to the Cleveland Browns, and Bledsoe threw a couple of key interceptions, killer interceptions in that second half.
Well, you know, it was only his second year in the league. Bill Parcells takes some of the responsibility for that. Put in a few wrinkles, maybe overloaded him a little bit. But Drew Bledsoe is a much more mature quarterback this year.
Wait a minute. Let's talk about the invisible men, the Patriots defense. This defense got hammered by Denver earlier in the year. Since then, this defense has really stepped up, specifically against the defending world champion Cowboys a few weeks ago. 5 times in the red zone. They pick 1 pass off, only 4 field goals, 12 points. That's the kind of performance they need today from the Patriots defense.
All right, this crowd is ready. Coming up, the New England Patriots and the Pittsburgh Steelers. Rod Woodson taking a private moment. He would love to get back to the Super Bowl. The winner today advancing to the AFC Championship game against Jacksonville.
Welcome back to New England. I'm Jim Gray. Well, I spoke to Jerome Bettis after the pregame warm-up. He told me he's only feeling about 70%. He's been getting treatment all morning. His groin is really bothering him. He is in significant pain. He told me that he told Bill Cowher that he wanted to play and is going to go ahead and give it a go. He doesn't know how effective he will be, and he doesn't think he'll be able to finish the game. Now, this scene right here is very reminiscent to the 1988 Fog Bowl game, the playoff game between the Chicago Bears and the Philadelphia Eagles. Now, the Bears won that game, and the starting quarterback on that day is the same starter for the Steelers today, Mike Tomczak. For more on the Fog and to lead us out of it, here's Beasley Reese.
Thanks a lot, Jim. Now, they've got some experience on this sideline also with that game. Number 41, Keith Byers of the Patriots, was a member of the Philadelphia Eagles in that Fog Bowl. Now, I spoke to Ray Perkins, the offensive coordinator for the Patriots, right before this game started. He sits high up in the press box. He expressed some concern to me about his ability to see down in distance and maybe even recognize some defensive formations. So both of these teams will have to change the way they do business in the second coming of the Fog Bowl. Now, Marv Albert, upstairs to you.
All right, thank you very much, Beasley. About 3 hours ago, it was impossible to see the field. Patriots kicking it off. And it's taken by Mills. Ernie Mills going for 14 yards. Terry Ray on the tackle. And here comes Mike Tomczak. 13 of 21, 176 yards last week in a victory over the Indianapolis Colts. The offensive line anchored by Dermontti Dawson, who has made it to the Pro Bowl the last 5 years. They've been outstanding. Only Dallas has allowed fewer sacks. Jerome Bettis, despite the groin injury in there with Tim Lester, Johnson, Hastings, and Hayes are the receivers. Play action for Bettis, and Tomczak is able to complete for the first down. The tight end, Jonathan Hayes, on the reception. Ted Johnson with the tackle, but a penalty marker is thrown. The referee is Bernie Kukar. and it is against Pittsburgh.
Illegal shift. 2 men on the offense, moving up to the inside. 5-yard penalty still first down.
They had the flanker and the back moving at the same time. That's why I always went with a list, so that you could rehearse in your mind the very first few plays of the game, so you didn't make a mistake like that. Pre-snap mistakes was one of the things that Bill Cowher told us yesterday, just wears him out, and they start the game with one.
He was telling us it gets him crazy, and the Pittsburgh Steelers have committed the second fewest number of penalties in the NFL. It's a first down and 15, and here is Bettis. So the Steelers testing Bettis early. Johnson and Collins combined to make the stop. And a look at that New England defensive unit, and they've come on recently. Collins, Wheeler, Sagapulatelli, McGinnis with 9.5 sacks. The linebacker Slade starting instead of Sabb. We'll see much of Dwayne Sabb. Ted Johnson leading the club in tackles. The secondary has played well recently. Law and Smith at the corners. Malloy and Clay are the safeties. A 2nd and 11. Just underway in foggy Foxborough. Off the draw, Bettis is smothered.
Well, with Jerome Bettis with that bad groin, you got to remember, when he goes to his right, he has a hard time coming back left. And the Patriots are doing a smart thing from the get-go here, guys. What they're doing is they're stunting up front, and they're blitzing with their linebackers. They are blitzing the Pittsburgh run.
Force him to cut. They started left, so at least he had to cut to the right. That'll be a little easier for him today.
Jerome Bettis sat out practice all week due to that groin pull. Worked it early this morning here at the stadium. Said he was ready. And Tomczak incomplete. Intended for Jaheen Arnold. Now here on the first series, Mike Tomczak going to a couple of unlikely receivers. The tight end Jonathan Hayes, who caught only 2 passes during the regular season, and Jaheen Arnold has been in the game plan in recent weeks.
And importantly, too, for the Patriots defense, watch the hit Tomczak takes at the end. That's Chris Slade, the linebacker, gets in there and puts a little pounding on the quarterback. That is what the Patriots defense needs. Josh
Miller back to punt, and it could be an adventure for the punt returners. Dave Meggett is back at his 35 and able to handle it. Works his way to the 44-yard line. A 42-yard punt and a 5-yard return. Randy Fuller on the stop. So here are the Patriots for the offense for the first time. This is only his 3rd lifetime appearance against Pittsburgh. Earlier we made mention of the 60 passes thrown last year in that 41-27 defeat. A look at the offensive line. Chris Armstrong, once again a Pro Bowler. Roberts, Woolabaugh, Rucci, and Lane up front. The running backs, Curtis Martin making it to the Pro Bowl for the 2nd straight year. Keith Byers, who will be so important in the blitz pickup, playing for the injured Sam Gash. And Bledsoe to put it up and goes deep on first down. Terry Glenn sets up a 1st and goal on a 52-yard hookup. They go right at Rod Woodson.
Should fake, and they're going to throw the ball deep before Pittsburgh has a chance to do any zone blitzing. Gets the ball off quick. Terry Glenn, with his speed down the sideline, just outruns the coverage.
And Sam, they came out in the 3-4 defense. There was no blitz, and there was no pressure on Bledsoe. You better get in that big guy's face, or he is going to kill you with this young receiver out of Ohio State.
And Bledsoe had been saying throughout the week that Woodson gambles, and they would look to go at him. All right, 1st and goal. Here's Curtis Martin, touchdown. Well, Curtis Martin, who ran for 17 touchdowns during the regular season, a New England franchise record, able to cap off a 2-play drive.
Well, from the Steelers' perspective, the wrong offensive line comes out doing their job early. Good pass protection on the first play, Sam, and they just drilled them on that run.
Hey, Todd Rucci, Max Lane, and then William Roberts pulling up in the hole. Easy touchdown run that time for Curtis Martin.
And this is Adam Vinatieri. 7-0 New England. A 53-yard completion from Bledsoe to Glenn to get it going. That's the longest completion from Bledsoe ever to a wide receiver. And Drew Bledsoe has led the Patriots in 2 plays to a touchdown against the team that allows only 16 points per game. A muff by Arnold, picked up by Mills. And Mills is well covered. The Steelers come in as the AFC's best team defensively.
Now look at the vanilla defense up front. Look at the front 7. You rarely see the Pittsburgh Steelers in that position. Are they getting pressure? Not even near it. They step right up to the throw, right easy to Glenn.
On this touchdown, now watch Roberts right here is going to pull to the right. The tight end blocks down. Wide open hole for 3 or 4 yards.
And Curtis Martin has scored a touchdown in his last 14 games, in each of the last 14 here in Foxborough. Steelers start out from their 19-yard line. Bettis driven back. Mark Wheeler, the left defensive tackle, leading that charge. On a man who certainly has had experience under foggy conditions, as mentioned earlier, Jim Gray. Let's go to Jim.
All right, thank you, Marv. Well, Bernie Kukard, after the touchdown, went over to both benches and informed both coaches and the quarterbacks that if they could not see the 25 or 40-second clock, that they should look over to the head linesman, and with 10 seconds left, he will lift his hand so as to know when the play clock was winding down. Marv?
All right, thanks, Jim. 2nd down and 10 for the Steelers. Tomczak with the time and completes to the tight end, Kurt Botkin, who was tackled by Chris Slade. Kurt Botkin, a man who spent some time with both New England and New Orleans and has become more of a factor in recent weeks in the passing game.
He's more of the receiver tight end for them. They'll play John Farquhar as well, but he's more of the blocker, and you can see why he's a receiver. Not only does he catch well, but he's got good speed down the field.
And Bill Cowher was very honest with us last night. He said, hey, look, we found this guy. We brought him in here really to long snap, not to catch balls. We found out he's pretty fast.
And Kordell Stewart has checked in for the first time. He is often used in short yardage situations, although it was told to us last night as Stewart calls for time that he may also be used in ordinary quarterback type scenarios. Timeout taken. We'll be right back. As we resume with the 3rd down and 1, Jerome Bettis to the sideline, and the Steelers now going with the running back combination of Tim Lester. He's the fullback, and John Whitman, number 38, a rookie from Penn State, 3rd-round draft pick. The coaches pleasantly surprised with Whitman as a runner and receiver, and got into it last week against the Indianapolis Colts. Played well. 3rd and 1. Kordell Stewart off the roll. Couldn't find the opening, and he stopped for a loss by Todd Collins.
And Marv, this is exactly what the Patriots talked about the other day. We've seen options in college. You've got to cut off the lead guy, and then you've got to attack the quarterback. Don't let him stand there free. The Colts had a hard time handling this, and they attacked the quarterback.
You saw Willie Clay making sure he couldn't go outside. Todd Collins coming inside out. There was nowhere to go there.
Josh Miller punting from his 11. Dave Meggett is back. And here's Meggett to the 35, to the 40-yard line. Fred McAvee, the captain of the Steelers special teams, on the tackle. 46-yard punt and 11-yard return. And there is Todd Collins, who made that last tackle on Kordell Stewart. He's been starting for Monty Brown, out for the season with an Achilles tendon injury.
Well, perfect. Just like Sam said, you see Collins, you see Clay. I mean, that is how you defense the option.
And if you notice, Todd Collins was just skating along the line of scrimmage with his shoulders squared. No way to cut back either.
And it's something Stewart's not used to seeing.
5 minutes gone by in the first. Play action. Bledsoe able to rifle it and complete. Terry Glenn with his 2nd reception. This one for 12. A tackle by Rod Woodson. Look at the Steeler defensive unit up front. Bill Johnson for the injured Brinston Buckner, Joel Steed, Kevin Henry. The linebackers have played well. Gilden, Pro Bowler Kirkland, Olszewski, Chad Brown making it to the Pro Bowl for the first time. And in the secondary, Woodson and Williams. at the corners, and Lake and Perry are the safeties. And a first down for New England. Bledsoe, this time short range. Curtis Martin to the sideline and bumped out inside the 40. Picked up 7. Jason Gilden on the coverage.
Randy, I'm a little surprised at the defensive strategy of Pittsburgh early in this ballgame. Again, no blitz, just there are 4 people up front giving a little bit of pressure, but nothing behind that causing any trouble for Bledsoe.
Well, the what you expect to see out of the Pittsburgh defense is swagger and pressure. And you're not seeing either of them out of that defense. That's exactly what Parcells wants.
Bledsoe 3 of 3 for 71 yards. Curtis Martin has the first down and more. Levon Kirkland and Jason Gilden making the stop on Martin.
Well, watch what happens just inside the guard area here, and then the cutback. If you want to get a swagger out of a defense, especially a physical defense, go at their heart. Hit them in the belly. Give them a body shot.
Only thing they didn't do there was cut off the backside. Jason Gilden there to make the saving tackle.
Curtis Martin, a native of Pittsburgh, 120-yard game last December in his only appearance against the team that he followed as a kid. Bledsoe getting the time. Keith Byers picks up a blocker. Keith Byers able to run it in 34 yards, and the Patriots off to a 13-0 lead.
And this is the screen play. After talking to a lot of the players, we had an idea that they favored this one coming into this ball game. Good setup, looks down the field to hold everybody off. Keith Byers, an excellent receiver, and the screen to the right is good for a touchdown right off the bat in the first quarter.
Guys, 3 weeks ago, they ran a lot of those against the Cowboys because they were anticipating blitz and pressure. You saw Bledsoe, he almost had to oversell his drop because there was no pressure on the quarterback.
Well, Bill Parcells telling us the other day after practice that he has 5 or 6 screen plays prepared for the Pittsburgh Steelers. Adam Vinatieri makes it 14-0 New England. Usually they go with 2 or 3 screens, but he said he'd have a little twist for the Steelers, and this is what he was talking about. Byers for 34 yards on the 6 plays offensively, and they already have 14 points. We still have 7:55 remaining in this first quarter as Adam Vinatieri gets set to kick it off to Ernie Mills and Jaheen Arnold. This is Mills out across the 25-yard line again. Excellent coverage by the Patriots, led by backup running back Mario Greer. There you see those 2 possessions. The long pass, the 53-yarder to Glenn, set up the first. And here's a look at the second.
Second touchdown was a screen play. The linebackers drop straight back into coverage. The offensive linemen now are going to break out here in just a minute. The quarterback has to sell one thing. He's got to make sure that he looks straight down the field and then lays the ball off. The linebackers are so deep that the line has a chance to get the angle.
And some great blocks downfield on that safety and the corner.
Pittsburgh starting out from the 26-yard line, putting the pressure on, and the pass intended for Charles Johnson. Chris Slade coming strong on Mike Tomczak. Keith Byers congratulated by head coach Bill Parcells, executing that screen for the touchdown.
And Marv, on that last play, you mentioned it. Tomczak got a facial massage from Slade. The second time they're getting the shots on Tomczak. Remember, this is not a great passing Pittsburgh team.
2nd and 10. Back to the ground. Jerome Bettis found an opening, could not accelerate. Willie McGinnis was right there to cut him off.
Chris Slade came almost untouched, much like the Pittsburgh Steelers were doing last week. But right here, you see him coming in there. He's all the way around the corner. Kurt Botkin didn't lay a hand on him.
And this Steeler team really needs Jerome Bettis. He's one play away from being out with that bad groin. In fact, I don't know if he's going to get hurt worse by running or getting somebody grabbing the leg and making a wish.
Randy, in fact, Bettis is on the sideline now, replaced by Fred McAbee. Tomczak in trouble and running for the first down, able to slide his way out near the 45-yard line. That's an advance of 12, met by Chris Slade.
Chris Slade came to play today, guys. I mean, here's a guy that's been alternating back and forth with Saab there at outside linebacker. He gets the start and comes all the way from the left side of the screen, gets driven around, and then chases it down from behind.
Justin Strelzik tried to cut him that time. That's fine, except you better throw the ball on time if you're going to have your tackles cutting the defensive pass rush.
Johnson left, Hastings right, Bettis, and he's stopped behind the line by Todd Collins. Patriots doing a terrific job here in the early going against Jerome Bettis.
And guess where it comes from, Marv? Chris Slade absolutely blows up the attempted lead block on that play. I mean, this is a nice play. You talk about how do you do it with your shoulder position. Outside shoulder blows right through Lester. I mean, that is football.
You've got to force Bettis to have to make quick cuts in the backfield if you want to wear that injury out, take him out of the ball game.
2nd and 9. Just under 6 minutes remaining, first quarter. And a flag is thrown as Tomczak throws it away.
That's thrown where they throw holding penalties. The referee threw it from the offensive right side.
Yeah, right. Always picking on the poor linemen, even coaches, huh?
Holding, number 68 on the offense. Penalty is declined. 3rd down.
That's the right guard, Brendan Stye, 3rd-round draft pick last year out of Nebraska.
You like those double circles?
That's
I
good.
kind of like this toy.
See, we've got 2 telestrators up here, and if I move faster, I get the first circle.
2 telestrators and 1 tackle. Brendan Stye. That's a good tackle.
And I must point out, at this stretch of the broadcast, Randy showing more quickness, Sam.
Okay.
It'll be a 3rd down and 9. They wanted to reset the play clock. Patriots with a 14-0 lead on the Steelers. Oh, Tomczak got popped. He was walloped. The pass intended for Charles Johnson.
Right up here, you're going to see the blitz coming up in the corner today. It's going to be a little stunt. He comes back inside. Nobody gets to him. They're 1 man short, blocking to the left side.
Yeah, McAfee had to make a decision. He saw 2 bodies, and he got the first one that came to him.
Jerome Henderson, who's played very well as of late, able to get to Mike Tomczak, and another punt by Miller. Back comes Meggett. A short return, 47-yard punt by Josh Miller. We have 5:22 remaining in this first quarter. As you take a look at Mike Tomczak getting walloped from behind by Jerome Henderson. We'll be right back. Back in Foxborough, the last time that Drew Bledsoe and this particular group of Patriots were in a playoff was back in Cleveland '94. Bledsoe with only 21 of 50, intercepted 3 times. This one picked off by Pepper Johnson. Fourth quarter, Patriots pulled within 7 and recovered this onside kick, but came up short. The drive stalled with Bledsoe's 4th consecutive incomplete pass. Bill Parcells' first trip to the playoffs with the Patriots. The opposing coach for the Cleveland Browns, Bill Belichick, who is now an assistant coach on the staff of Bill Parcells. Bledsoe with the impressive numbers here at the start. The shoestring catch by Myers, tackled by the free safety Darren Perry. The last time the Patriots hosted the Steelers was back in 1979, the last time Pittsburgh was here in Foxborough, and at the time Drew Bledsoe was 7 years old. Sam was only 12.
I was 12, going on 13, which I am today.
Well, a 7-year-old could stand back and throw the ball against this defense if they're not going to get in his face, and Bledsoe stepping into every throw.
It is a 2nd down and 2. Here's Curtis Martin short of the first down. Joel Steed, the nose tackle, and the strong safety Kordell Lake combined to make the stop.
You know, that was a good play by the Pittsburgh defense, but we're kind of seeing a reversal of the roles. The Pittsburgh defense is what we've been talking about, what everybody's been talking about, and they're certainly very good, but the Patriot defense is outplaying them today.
Yeah, it's like I said at the opening of the game. Don't forget the invisible men. Dick LeBeau there, the coordinator for the Steelers, and his crew have gotten a huge amount of credit, but you know, nobody talks about Al Groh's guys, and they're doing a heck of a job so far.
3rd and 1. Flags come flying. Martin has the first down and some additional yardage. Kordell Lake, the strong safety, on the stop. Let's check out the flag. Does it seem a bit louder here than normal? I know they have pumped up the sound system, but right from the start.
Offside on the defense, number 92. The penalty is declined. First down.
Well, that is Jason Gilden, the outside linebacker. Now, wait a second. Perhaps fog in the area has something to do with the sound system. I know
it's an acoustical, you know, it's a fog lid, Marv. And what you don't want to do, remember, Sam, you talked about it, pre-snap mistakes. Another pre-snap mistake.
Well, Bill Cowher can't stand him, and he's already getting a taste of it.
First down at the 44-yard line. Short set by Bledsoe, and again completes. Ben Coates, who had 62 receptions during the regular season, is able to make that catch, met by Levon Kirkland, along with Rod Woodson and Kordell Lake. The question is, can Kirkland, a linebacker, cover a tight end like Coates as he did last week against Ken Dilger of the Colts?
Marv, not if Bledsoe gets that kind of protection. I mean, this defense came in here looking like an attack dog, Sam, and right now they look like poodles. They are not attacking.
They're very passive so far in this ballgame.
Just under 3 left. First quarter, Patriots 14, and the Steelers nothing. Again, penalty markers. Curtis Martin stopped up the line.
And I think Kordell Lake was trying to fake the blitz and just stepped into the neutral zone.
Offside, number 37 on the defense. That's a 5-yard penalty, resulting in the first down.
And that's one of the things Bill Cowher knows. When you're trying to get that attack mentality going, you're going to get a defensive back trying to time the blitz. Last week, Kordell Lake was not called when he was offsides against the Colts. That time he jumps a little too early.
Good point.
Wow, high praise from Sam.
That's as high as I go.
I haven't heard that all season for anyone. And Coates with a short pickup met by Gilden. That penalty a moment ago against Pittsburgh, the second accepted. There were 2 declines, so already 4 have been assessed. And Pittsburgh, as I mentioned earlier, second in the NFL in fewest penalties, 84. Only Indianapolis committed fewer penalties, so you know he is very upset about that.
And an obscure stat, though, Marv, the Patriots, their opponents have had more penalties called on them than any other team in the league. I mean, it's not something everybody keeps track of, but it's true.
Second down and 8 at the 41-yard line, and Curtis Martin gets to the 38, met by Darren Perry, and the Patriots mixing up the plays so effectively here at the start.
Well, they finally brought somebody. Jerry Osowski comes right in the middle. You see him right here, blitz. And they're going to give a little bit of pressure, adding, and also coming from the top of the screen as well, Jason Gilden. But still some good yardage. The offensive line is just outplaying the defensive.
What they're doing up front is they're finishing their blocks. That play was William Roberts and Byers at the fullback position, finished off the defenders.
3rd down and 5 at the 38. And Bledsoe's pass incomplete. That is his first incompletion. 7 of 8. 124 yards for Bledsoe here at the start.
But once again, that was a coverage type situation, but he was not getting the pressure. Drew Bledsoe was throwing those fall-away jumpers against the blitz earlier this year. Right now, he's just standing up there tall and stepping at it.
And here's Tom Chupa, who has had an outstanding season. Jaheen Arnold is back and lets it carry, and it ended up in the end zone, and that upset Ray Lucas, who was trying to down it. 38-yard punt. Albert with Sam Weish and Randy Cross Divisional playoff between the Steelers and the Patriots. The winner to face the Jacksonville Jaguars, who pulled off the shocker yesterday in Denver. This is Jerome Bettis. So they keep trying with Bettis. Has not been able to get much going. He has 6 carries, 16 yards, picked up 4 on that play. It'll be a 2nd down and 6 at the 24-yard line.
You know, it's 14-0. It's too early to be in a panic situation, but if the feel or the gut feeling by Bill Cowher is how he makes that quarterback change, he's got to be sensing something maybe on the horizon here.
Well, is Mike Tomczak, is he capable of bringing a club from 14 points down? Bettis once again gets the call.
Honestly, Marv, as a passer, he's the passer they have. The guy that's going to do it with the pass is Mike Tomczak. Kordell Stewart brings a lot to the game. Remember, I told you at the beginning of the game, neither guy is a total package. But the part of the package Tomczak brings is he knows the passing game. He knows pass defense.
They've won a lot of football games with both those quarterbacks. They're still in this thing. It's just that they're going to have to make something happen here to get themselves going again.
This first quarter rolling down. When we resume, it'll be a 3rd and 3 for the Steelers from their 27. A burst by the Patriots. They lead the Steelers 14-0 after 1.
Your daughter has an American Express student card. She'll be able to get...
Welcome back to Foxborough. You can see the fog has lifted slightly about 2 hours ago. From our broadcast vantage point, it was impossible to see the field. In fact, we had to turn Sam around. He was looking in the wrong direction, and it was very embarrassing.
And the sad thing is he's commenting on the view.
Yes. Well, the worst part was that's the 2nd week in a row it happened. There was no fog last week.
New England 14-0 over Pittsburgh. 3rd down and 3 from the 27 as the 2nd quarter gets underway. And here is Fred McAfee getting to the outside and has a 1st down. The Pittsburgh Steelers' best rally this season. The biggest deficit they were able to come back from was an 11-point margin against the Miami Dolphins. They were down 14-3 and were able to successfully come back. They're down here by 14.
Well, this is a team built with power in mind, not built with speed and comeback in mind.
And a 1st down at the 31-yard line. Here's Bettis, and again he is stopped. Short pickup by Bettis.
You know, the difference between the two teams are that the Patriots are able to come from behind. They were down 22-0 to the Giants, 21-0, I think, to the New York Jets, and they can come from behind. The Steelers, on the other hand, are exactly what you said. They'd rather pound you. They want Jerome Bettis to get that look in the defensive eyes that here he comes again.
2nd down and 8 at the 33. And Tomczak to the sideline, almost intercepted. It was intended for Charles Johnson. And Otis Smith had a crack at it. Otis Smith has taken over as the starter right corner for Ricky Reynolds and has played very well.
Almost deja vu all over again here in the flat. Last week, Tomczak threw one out there that was returned for a touchdown by Eugene Daniel, and he got a great break on it.
Tomczak 1 of 6, only 9 yards. Looking at a 3rd down and 8. Diving catch made on a floater. Andre Hastings, but well short of the 1st down. Scooter Magruder on the tackle, and again the punting unit will check in. This is a Pittsburgh team that opened the season losing at Jacksonville. And they lost Greg Lloyd for the season of that game. Things looked very bleak, but they turned it by winning 5 straight, 7 of the next 8. They went to 9-3, but then dropped 3 of their final 4 games to finish at 10-6, a game behind New England in the conference race. And it's a fake. McAfee on the fake punt. And has the 1st down.
And Sam, you know why you do that? You know why you can do that at 14-zip in your own territory? Because of the playoff experience and the confidence Bill Cowher has in his football players.
No question about it. Everybody just blocks down. It's a direct snap to the up back. and everybody on the defensive side of the ball, the return side of the ball, is looking past him. They actually don't even see the exchange.
Well, they had this ready last week for the Colts. Didn't get the right look. Got it today, and it's more guts than it is look, though.
And McAfee picked up 10 yards. First down at the 47. Bettis able to shake tacklers for the first time and has a first down. That's his longest run. Picked up 13 on that play.
You know, that time Bettis started the right and had to cut back to the left. That's the toughest move he's got to make, cutting to his left. It's his right growing area, so he's got to pull that right leg over the left like that. Not a full, you can see he drags it a little bit, but he's getting the job done.
Yeah, I'm not going to step in front of him.
Nope, he's playing with a lot of pain, man.
Well, I tell you, I wouldn't want any part of that guy.
And a first down for 42. Tomczak is taken down. First sack of the day for the Patriots. Combination of Mike Jones and Chad Eaton getting to the quarterback.
And they're doing it the Pittsburgh way. They're blitzing and they're stunning up front. Bill Cowher is watching a little bit of his own medicine being put on his own offense.
What you get, I think Chris Slade, too, has made a big difference in this one. He's in for Dwayne Saab for this ball game. He's going to play most of it. This is one of the wrinkles that Bill Parcells said he was going to do during the game.
And this is an offensive line that has allowed very few sacks. Only Dallas has given up less. Tomczak taken down again. Successive sacks. Jones involved, number 96. And Chris Slade also getting to the pocket.
You know, at the very end of this play, watch how many of the Pittsburgh offensive linemen are standing and watching the sack take place. And the linemen are setting up in their pass protection. Now watch right at the end. You see all these guys down here in the bottom of the screen that were just turning. Their arms are down by the side. When I see a lineman with his arms by his side, the play is over for him.
Right now, the Steelers are being out-Steelered.
Third down and 25. Back at the 43. Out of the shotgun. It is completed. Jaheen Arnold. Ball may have been knocked loose, but Otis Smith on the tackle and Arnold able to hold on. It's an 11-yard pickup and well short of a first down.
You know, yesterday, Bill Parcells told us that he thought the toughest way to win, or the toughest place to win, was on the road in the playoffs against a good team. And obviously, they're all good teams in the playoffs. And that's what Pittsburgh has run into right now. A fired-up football team, a fired-up stadium, a good football team on the road, and they're having their problems.
But, Sam, a team that was 3-5 this year on the road. Not as effective away from Three Rivers.
Fourth punt of the day. Josh Miller taking that high snap. Dave Meggett from his 10, 15, out across the 20-yard line. 36-yard punt, 11-yard return. 10 minutes to go in this first half. 14-0 New England. Only the second playoff game the Patriots have ever hosted. The only other playoff game played in New England back in 1978. Patriots losing to Houston. The Oilers advancing to the AFC Championship game. Curtis Martin able to break a tackle. Curtis Martin inside the 30, inside the 15. Touchdown. "78 yards for the native of Pittsburgh who grew up rooting for the Steelers. Curtis Martin extends to a 20-0 lead for the Patriots."
We talked about offensive linemen standing around and watching on the last Pittsburgh offensive play. Watch this offensive line stick on blocks. The blue shirts are on the white shirts, and the white shirts are groping.
Well, I tell you what, you know, they have lost Sam Gash for the season. He's usually that lead blocker that's one-on-one on the linebacker to break those kind of runs. This is a great job of coaching, of getting the team and adjusting to the players they now have.
So 9:55 remaining in the first half. And it's now New England with a commanding 21-0 lead on Pittsburgh. New England Patriots close the regular season as one of the hot teams in the NFL, winning 8 of the last 10, and they're on fire here in the first half. Ernie Mills and Jaheen Arnold are back for the kick from Adam Vinatieri. This is Mills. Once again, terrific coverage by the Patriots, led by Larry Wiggum.
First of all, look at the coordination between Max Lane and Todd Rucci. Lane down, Rucci around.
And after this play starts, now watch Joel Steed, the nose tackle right there. He's going to just overrun the play. Just gets by Levon Kirkland, makes the last guy miss, and now it's a foot race. That's a pretty football play.
Well, Martin, 6 rushes, 103 yards, his second touchdown of the half. Kordell Stewart is back at quarterback. And this is not a short yardage situation. Jerome Bettis reaching out to the 30-yard line. Met by Chad Eaton. Well, Greg Lloyd, who was sidelined for the year in the opening Steeler game against Jacksonville, trying to get the defense fired up. We talked about that last night with Chad Brown asking about Lloyd's presence on the sideline. Chad said, well, we kind of listen, but keep in mind, he hasn't looked at any game film all week. In effect, it is strictly from a motivational point of view on the part of Greg Lloyd. Bettis. And he's met by Ted Johnson. Well, Ted Johnson, a teammate of Kordell Stewart at Colorado, the leading tackler for the New England Patriots, able to make the stop on Jerome Bettis.
Ted Johnson just stands right in the middle. He's going to slide. He's actually getting held right there, it looks like to me, by Brendan Stein, but just fills the hole. A good linebacker makes most of his hits on the offensive side of the ball.
Watch the body language. The forward lean body language is all in blue jerseys.
3rd and 4 for the Steelers from their 31-yard line. And Stewart going incomplete. The pass intended for Charles Johnson. 3 and out. And again, the busiest man on the Steeler roster, Josh Miller, will check in. This is his 5th punt. They did have one fake, which was a successful maneuver. McAbee able to run it for the first down.
You know, other than the fake, everything's been tentative today, offensively and defensively for Pittsburgh.
Megan is back for the punt. And Megan with the return. Gets out to the 37-yard line. Corey Holiday involved in the stop. 43-yard punt, 7-yard return. 8:13 left in the first half.
Stevenson, the offensive line coach, talking to his all-pro Dawson. I mean, Marv, the biggest influence of fog is all inside the heads of the Steelers right now.
Ronnie Dawson hearing it on the sideline as we resume with another completion to Terry Glenn. Terry Glenn with his 3rd catch of the day. One went for 53 yards to set up that first New England touchdown.
Exactly. I mean, I stood on the sideline last week and was amazed at how physically beaten the Colts were. I mean, they were beaten up by this team. The swagger is in blue. They are hammering Bill Cowher's team right now.
How about this stat, too? On first down, they're averaging 23 yards on first down alone, New England.
2nd down and 6 from the 42 in New England territory. And Martin getting the call this time. He is stopped at the line. Stopped by Jerry Olszewski. Oliver Gibson. Well, look at this, the efficiency of the Patriots. 2 plays and a touchdown. 4 plays and a touchdown. Then they had the ball for 8 plays, forced to punt. And then 1 play, that the Curtis Martin 78-yard run for the score.
Sam, how much of that is just good early game planning by the New England coaching staff?
Well, it's all good game planning when it works. That's the answer to that one.
That extra week never hurts.
And you see the movement and the flags and a big hole for Dave Meggett. Has the first down if it holds up Myron Bell on the tackle. It's a 14-yard advance.
On the defense. Penalty is declined. That's the first down.
Well, it's Chad Brown jumping, and it will be a 14-yard pickup for Meggett.
You know, as we watch that last play,
Bill Parcells told us that they guessed a couple of weeks ago who they might be playing because they'd already played Jacksonville, they'd already played Buffalo, and their other option, of course, would be the Steelers. So they've been really working on the Steelers for 2 weeks. That's a lot of game plan.
But you never know. Had they come out here flat, people would say, hey, the long layoff hurt them. So you can rationalize after the fact. Well, the screen pass dropped by Troy Brown. He was wide open. It sets it back to a 2nd and 10 at the 46-yard line. Troy Brown, the man who made that sensational reception on his back 2 weeks ago against the Giants, and right here wide open, could not hold on.
Hey, you mentioned, Marv, normally 2 or 3 screens for a game plan. Today 5 or 6, and that had to be one of the new ones, and Drew knew he had it all the way.
2nd down and 10. Patriots at the Steeler 46-yard line. They lead 21-0. Patriots over the Steelers. Bledsoe is taken down. Chad Brown, who had 13 sacks during the regular season, comes up with the Steelers' first of the day.
Chad Brown had 3 sacks last week. A little game going at the top of the screen. He's going to come back inside. Beats Bruce Armstrong to the inside, just keeps right on coming. Actually, they're trying to zone it off right there, and he finds a crease in the offensive line.
And that little pause you saw on the ground, I don't think that was contemplation. This guy was out all week long with the flu. Physically, not a very big dominating guy. He lost 5 pounds this week.
Finally got back to practice on Friday. 3rd down and 18 for the 46. Bledsoe in trouble again, and he's tripped up and then flips it away. Penalty marker is down.
It'll be intentional grounding. He's within the pocket area.
Well, the blitz from the defensive back, Chris Oldham.
Intentional grounding. Number 11 on the offense. Also, loss of down.
Coming in hard. Got both guys coming up the middle. And Chris Oldham got there before anybody did.
And what frustrated the Colts was the timing of those blitzes so far. And even that one was a little bit off. The timing and coordination of the stunts and blitzes have not been there. They've resulted in offsides.
Only the 2nd punt of the game for Tom Tupa. Jaheen Arnold is back. He's replaced Andre Hastings as the punt returner, and things have improved in that department. Here's Arnold. Tripped up. Patriots getting downfield in a hurry. Only a 4-yard return on a 46-yard punt. The backup tight end, Mike Bartram, made the stop. Away, Bill Cowher trying to fire up the defensive unit. A moment ago, their best series against the Patriots, finally holding the Patriots without a score. Kordell Stewart took a big hit as he fires downfield and almost intercepted. Intended for Charles Johnson, covered by Willie Clay and Otis Smith, and Johnson shaken up. Charles Johnson, 60 catches during the regular season, a deep threat guy out of Colorado.
Otis Smith is right there with him. Willie Clay, the safety, coming inside out. He's the guy that lays the lick on Charles Johnson. Johnson is his speed guy down the field. And look at the pressure on Kordell Stewart.
That's Farrah Collins gets in there, and just, you know, there's times to jump and times when it's not very good to jump. When you're in the air, defensive linemen love to just land on top of a quarterback.
This is Charles Johnson, one of the many Colorado players in this ball game on both sides of the ball, but just runs a fly pattern or go pattern straight up the field, stride for stride. Otis Smith watches the receiver. He never really sees the ball come in, but Willie Clay almost got that one.
It's Willie Clay's lower body came in there and slammed into the upper body of Johnson's.
Charles Johnson, a player who has made it back from a knee injury and has emerged this season as a big play receiver. 5:41 remaining in the first half here in Foxborough. The Patriots with a 21-0 lead on the Steelers. The winner here will face the Jacksonville Jaguars for the AFC title. That'll be next Sunday. You can join NBC Sports as the conference champion is crowned in the AFC championship game. Coverage beginning at 3:30 Eastern. Greg Gumbel, Chris Collinsworth, Mike Ditka, Joe Gibbs, and Ahmad Rashad will preview the big game, get you caught up on all the NFL's latest news. The AFC Championship game next Sunday right here on NBC. How about the Jaguars stunning the Broncos yesterday?
One of the greatest things I've seen in a while, though, Marv, was that full stadium in Jacksonville watching it on the big screen.
Second down and 10. And Kordell Stewart is stopped by Ted Johnson, his one-time teammate at Colorado. Dwayne Sabb also involved.
Remember what I'm sorry, Sam. Remember what I said before? Right now, the Steelers are being out-Steelered.
Well, that's what you see right there. Call. And this is the blitz. The Steelers like to blitz. They're not doing it today. The Patriots are. And the fog, I just want to mention to you, is coming in as it did just before game time. It's getting really tough to see out there.
Well, those defenders are close enough to the linemen to know where they are and who they're supposed to block, though.
It is a 3rd and 15 from the 23-yard line. That was the 3rd sack by the Patriots. And Stewart comes up short. Intended for Hastings. Bruschi on the coverage.
You know what the Steelers are forced into now? They've got probably their second choice as a pure passer in the ball game when they need to be throwing. Still a lot of time. Obviously, we're still in the first quarter. But they've got the scrambler that makes something happen when things break down in the ball game, and probably going to see him a lot more.
And this the 6th punt of the day for Josh Miller. Incidentally, Charles Johnson had the wind knocked out of him and was back on the field for that last pass. Meggett is back behind his 30. And here's Meggett. Able to break a tackle, works his way across the 40, met by Lethon Flowers. 48-yard punt and a 12-yard return. We are back in Foxborough. And Bledsoe's pass incomplete, intended for Ben Coates. And yes, the fog even more severe as this second quarter progresses. But New England has a 21-0 lead. You know, you look back at the Patriots during the course of the regular season. We mentioned that the biggest deficit Pittsburgh was able to come back from was 11. They came back after trailing 14-3 to beat Miami. The Patriots were down. Rather had a 22-0 lead late in the second quarter against the Jaguars back in late September, and then needed overtime to pull it out. The draw play set up for Myers, and he took it to the outside. On Myers.
You know, discipline is a very key thing on defense, Sam, and you talk about that all the time on the field, and you got to do what your job tells you. And if you're supposed to be in a certain gap and do certain things, you got to be there. Bill Johnson, the defensive end, playing for Brenson Buckner, got upfield so quick, he took himself right out of that play. That's why Myers was able to get underneath him for that run.
Sometimes when you get up the field too fast, you create a crease right behind you.
It is a 3rd down and 3. And it is Curtis Martin getting to the outside. And has the first down. Darren Perry able to make the trip. Well, Sam, I know you're talking about the fog, but perhaps the fog has set it up in the foot. Did you say we're in the first quarter a moment ago?
I hope not. I meant to say first half if I did, but we're not in the first quarter, if that's your question. It's the first half.
It is, yes, with 3:47 remaining in this first half.
I'm new at this, Marv.
It is a 1st and 10 at the 48-yard line. And off the pitch, it is Martin. And Curtis Martin breaking tackles. Olszewski and Lake combined.
I tell you, Mike Tomczak's going to be on the sideline warming up for a while, like you saw in that shot, the way the defense isn't stopping Curtis Martin in this offense.
Second down, 4.
Ben Coates and John Burke now line up as the double tight ends. Second down and 4. Terry Glenn in motion. And Martin gets the call. Chad Brown on the stop.
Now, overall, the defense, I don't want to harp on this part of it here, but they not lethargic, but they don't have that same energy level that you have seen all year long from the Pittsburgh Steelers defense. They don't look aggressive. You can see players on the backside that aren't chasing like they did. Sometimes you just get to a point in the season when you've got a fatigued football team, and they look that way today.
Well, really, it's that coordination and timing. When it's done right, they look like a pack of wild dogs last week. And now they just sort of look like dogs this far in the first half.
A 3rd down and 6. And Bledsoe comes up short, incomplete on the deflection.
Sam, you're a pilot. At what point, passing game-wise, in these type of conditions, do you sort of start throwing on instruments? I mean, does that actually become a factor with this kind of fog?
They're there. Anything deep down the field, you're on instruments right now. The fog is a factor on this play right here, I'll tell you, on the punting game. Anytime that ball gets high in the air, it disappears from us. I assume it's a little easier to see on the field, but not really, not a clear look.
All right, Tom Tupa punting to Jaheen Arnold. And this one is angled out of bounds. They'll spot it inside the 5-yard line. A 39-yard punt. Larry Wickham able to make the play. We'll be right back.
You've got this huge cousin.
Well, coming up, Rick Gumbel, Mike Ditka, Joe Gibbs, Chris Collinsworth on the Domino's Pizza NFL on NBC halftime report, plus Jim Harbaugh live from Orlando, Florida. He'll be chatting to the guys. That is coming up at halftime. A 21-0 lead for the New England Patriots over the Pittsburgh Steelers. Drew Bledsoe with a red-hot first half. Curtis Martin, 109 yards on the ground. That is already a single game New England franchise record for a playoff. Jerome Bettis getting the call. And due to the fog conditions here in Foxborough, the camera's not able to shoot the clock, so we're putting it in electronically from our New York studios. And, of course, we'll keep you up to date as McAfee is able to run it across the 10-yard line. We're down to 1:23 and counting here in this first half.
Pittsburgh went with a no-huddle. Quick substitution, got their extra receivers in there, and then ran the draw.
I'll tell you, last week, the Steelers offense had 407 yards against the Colts. So far today, 72 yards.
And a timeout has been called. Curtis Martin, as we mentioned, already in the first half has established a New England Patriot playoff franchise record, 110 yards. A record that was set by Craig James. 1985 AFC Championship game. Craig James, the last Patriot running back to run for over 100 yards in a playoff. Went for 105 on 22 carries to help propel the Patriots into their first Super Bowl. Craig James now in the television booth these days. It's a 3rd down and 4. And Kordell Stewart's pass comes up short. Intended for Jaheen Arnold. Covered by Otis Smith. So down to 1:20 to go in this first half.
And now Pittsburgh's going to have to punt to the Pats. Good field position, and they'll have 3 timeouts remaining in this first half.
Now, as Stewart steps into it, watch the pass be deflected. See, it just gets tipped there by Willie McGinnis as he's trying to put the ball over the top of him.
And this is the 7th punt of the game for Josh Miller. Patriots do have 2 timeouts remaining. And Megan able to hold on to the football. It's getting tougher and tougher to handle the punts with the heavy fog. 43-yard punt.
I really want to listen to halftime and hear what Jim Harbaugh has to say, because the beating he took from this Steeler team last week, he's got to be sitting down in Florida just saying, hey, now, wait a minute. Where were these guys last week when I needed them? I mean, with his new teeth, I should add.
Well, Pittsburgh with a 42-14 victory last week to advance to the divisional playoff. Mike Ditka might have some interesting comments. He coached in the Fog Bowl. It's not quite to that extent as we reflect back on the divisional playoff game in Chicago, December of '88. Here's Bledsoe. And it is incomplete. Intended for Terry Glenn, covered by LaVon Kirkland. That Fog Bowl game won by Mike Ditka's Bears, 20-12 over Philadelphia. Mike Tomczak, as we mentioned earlier, played in that game.
Number 88 on the offense,
And a
moving
flag.
forward prior to the snap. That penalty has declined. Second down.
Illegal motion on the Patriots declined. We're down to 1:07 remaining in this first half. It is a 2nd down and 10 for New England.
And we talked about earlier yesterday, actually, in the pregame of that game, and talked today about Bledsoe as being a transition game, a defining moment, and a real test. He's past point A, test A.
And Bledsoe's pass picked off by Willie Williams, intended for Dave Meggett. So Willie Williams on the interception of that screen pass.
Well, I tell you, he passed the first test, but this is the second test, and he didn't want to fail right at the end of the first half to give that ball back to Pittsburgh. Ball was just thrown out, and his anticipation on the throw that time by Willie Williams.
Now watch where Meggett puts his hand up and doesn't really go for that ball.
I don't know if they can see the ball well. I'm not even sure they can find the quarterback back there when they look back in the backfield.
Well, Willie Williams saw it, had only one interception during the regular season, 7 last year. Mike Tomczak back at quarterback. And Tomczak's pass is caught, a diving reception by Hastings, covered by Malloy.
This is just what Pittsburgh wanted, a chance to get back in the ballgame and do something right before the end of the half.
We're down to 47 seconds remaining. 1st and 10 at the 30-yard line, and it's intercepted by Ty Law. Tomczak picked off, or did he drop it? Now it's ruled incomplete. Law thought he had it, but could not hold on.
And we saw how hard it was to pick up that ball that was floated out. Tomczak is drilling these balls, trying to fit it in. Another case of a defensive back getting a great break in anticipation and a little miscommunication with Johnson, the receiver.
And a 2nd and 10 for the Steelers at the Patriot 30-yard line. Down to 39 seconds to go in the half. Tomczak out of the shotgun, stepping up and throwing incomplete.
Patriots choosing to rush only 3 people and drop 8 back into coverage, almost at a prevent. They're down around field goal range now. They're certainly within a chance to take a shot at it. So they're going to concede the 3, not to give them 7.
It is a 3rd and 10 at the New England 30-yard line. 33 seconds to go in this first half. Now the fog is worse at this point than at any other point during this first half. This is the way it looked about 2 hours prior to game time. 3rd down play. And Tomczak's pass caught by Hastings, and he's run out of bounds by Corwin Brown.
Didn't quite get enough of the first down now, though, and they need some points before they go in this half. I don't think they're going to be gambling right now on 4th down.
We talked about how successful the screenplay was for the Patriots earlier. This is nice execution, and what this really does is this puts you in a position where you can either go for it or kick it, and they're going to go for it.
Yep. 4th down and 4 at the New England 24 with 26 seconds left in the half. The swing pass, McAvee is stopped.
You see there, Marv, they had a chance to put something on the board. Just walk away from this first half getting some points right there. If they'd been 4th and a foot or a yard, but that's a coaching decision, and he had to make the call as to whether to try to, spark the team enough to get the 7 points. But that was a little swing pass, nothing down the field to get the big play.
Well, watch the attack. Remember the attack all coming out of one side of the ball club? Well, the attack on that case was from the linebacker, Teddy Bruschi, the rookie out of Arizona, attacking McAfee.
And Tomczak now 6 of 13, 44 yards. That has been it. Patriots take over on downs with 21 seconds to go, and that will do it. They run out the clock, and hear it from this capacity crowd. At the half in Foxborough, Patriots with a 21-0 lead on the Steelers. The winner advances to next Sunday's AFC Championship game to face the Jacksonville Jaguars. Now stay tuned for Greg Gumbel and the Domino's Pizza halftime report after these messages from your local station. This is the NFL
on NBC halftime report, brought to you by Domino's Pizza. For hot and wow, call Domino's. Now,
welcome back, everyone. Prior to the game today in Foxborough, the national finals of the punt, pass, and kick competition were held for kids age 8 to 15, and we'll get to that in just a few moments. But first, let's talk about the first half of the game today. And Joe, 21-0 score. You have to wonder, is it the Pittsburgh defense that's the problem, or is it just an outstanding New England offense?
I think it's some of both. I think New England's been very well prepared, but let me say this. This is not your normal Pittsburgh performance on defense. Now, the defense is the heart and soul of this team, and what happens to you, all of a sudden the defense is out there. They've given up 133 yards rushing. They've been off sides 3 times. They can't get any pressure on Bledsoe, and they've given up big plays all over the field. I'm telling you, I think when you look at your team and say that's the heart and soul, and all of a sudden they're having a tough time playing a poor first half, the rest of the team they lose their confidence.
Yeah. Chris?
Well, really, I think the story of this game has been the ability of New England's defense to blitz. And the reason that's happened is because in the past few weeks, they've gotten Ty Law and Otis Smith in there at the cornerback position. They were very uncomfortable playing any man coverage and bringing the pressure. But since those 2 guys have gotten in there and they've been healthy, they've actually been able to bring up 8 men against the run. And this was a team really struggled against the run early in the season, but now they are doing a great job against that run.
Well, there's one thing you can't get away from, Mike. This New England team looks extremely well prepared for the Steelers.
Well, I think, you know, sometimes a bye week can help you, sometimes it can hurt you. It helped them because they prepared for 2 weeks now for Pittsburgh. And I think the other thing that helped them was watching that game against Indianapolis last week. They figured they knew Buffalo well enough. They played them twice. They knew Jacksonville. But they wanted to get all they could get on Pittsburgh, and they got them down pat. I tell you, they've analyzed this defense pretty good and the offense, and they're playing it real well.
You know, one thing you can't get away from, the thing that we were talking about prior to the start of the game, what if Pittsburgh doesn't have a healthy Jerome Bettis to carry the load?
And I think it's been a major impact. There's no question about it. But I was in New England this week, and almost to a man up there, they were extremely confident. They weren't talking about winning this game. They were talking about winning it big. They knew something about this Steelers defense.
Okay. Ask me what I was talking about prior to the game.
What were you talking about prior to the game?
Let me tell you, prior to the game today in Foxborough, the national finals of that punt, pass, and kick.
And we welcome you back to a fog hit of Foxborough. The Patriots over the Steelers 21-0. If you can see us through the fog, I'm Marv Albert, Randy Cross, Sam Weish. What a surprise, though, the way the Patriots got off at the start.
It really is, and I think Joe Gibbs was absolutely right at halftime. It was kind of like a boxer. You're known for that left jab. Suddenly your left hand's broken. This is a team known for its defense, and right now its defense is broken for Pittsburgh.
Well, you know, big games are not about emotion. They're about execution. But you've got to have some emotion in order to execute well. And the Pittsburgh Steelers, really, they're emotionless, and they're not executing.
All right, let's check out the halftime statistics. Look at the Coors Light halftime stats. And as you might expect, it is all New England. 10 first downs. Look at the rushing, 129 to 67. Passing yards, 119 to 24. And total yards in command. Meggett and Brown are back deep as Norm Johnson of the Steelers will kick it off. Curtis Martin, a 2-yard touchdown run. Bledsoe to Byers on a 34-yard touchdown pass, and Martin went 78 yards for the other score. This is Troy Brown with the return. Able to weave his way up near the 35-yard line. A 24-yard return by Brown. Let's check in with Jim Gray. Jim?
All right, thank you, Marv. I spoke to Bill Cowher, the head coach of the Steelers. He said it is not a lack of effort, it's a lack of execution. We must execute much better in the second half. I said, what did you say to your team? He said, guys, it's very simple. They got 21 in the first half. We need 21 or more, or we're going home. Marv?
All right, Jim. Drew Bledsoe, 8 of 15, 127 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception. But he began hitting on his first 7 passes. Opens up the second half with the pass to Curtis Martin, but he's stopped by Jerry Olszewski. Let's check in with Beasley Reese.
Thanks a lot, Marv. I spoke to Bill Parcells. He said, remember, guys, he told his team, these guys are champions. They will make a run in the second half. I also asked him if he was surprised at the lack of pressure from Pittsburgh. He said that they were in shock early, but he expects more blitzing now. Marv, back to you.
All right, thank you, Beasley. 2nd down and 7. New England from their 35-yard line. On the draw, it is Martin. And he's stopped by Kevin Henry. Picked up a yard on the play. In the first half, Curtis Martin set a Patriot franchise record for most yards in a single playoff game. He did it in the first half. Of course, the Patriots have not been involved in that many playoff games during the course of their history. Jerome Bettis playing with that severe groin injury, 12 rushes, 38 yards. A 3rd and 8 from the 37-yard line. 88 Glenn in motion. And a flag is thrown. Bledsoe's pass is dropped by Glenn.
That was an audible that time. The tight end shifted down, and then Glenn came in motion. I don't think the tight end was set. That's the penalty. 2 men moving at the same time.
Illegal shift on the offense. 2 men moving at the same time. The penalty is declined. 4th down.
Very nicely captured.
There's an echo in here. Actually, that was designed. There was a hole in the middle of the defense. They read whatever they've been studying on film. He called the right play because there was a wide open Terry Glenn in the middle. He dropped it, however.
And Tom Tupa into punt from his 21-yard line. Jaheen Arnold, the rookie from Fresno State, back at his 21. It is angled once again. Here's Arnold at the 15, putting on a series of fakes, but nowhere to go. Ray Lucas on the coverage, a 50-yard punt and a beauty by Tupa. New England, the Pittsburgh Steelers back to the offense. Mike Tomczak only 6 of 13, 46 yards, handing off to Jerome Bettis as they start out from the 17-yard line. One of the major stories in the first half, the quarterback pressure, but it was New England doing it to Pittsburgh.
Well, I mentioned it earlier. They are out-Steelering the Steelers. And you do that by intimidating the opposition's quarterback, no matter which one it is.
Excellent play by the Patriots. Not the same kind of play we've seen from the Steelers.
And Jerome Bettis headed to the sideline for a 2nd down and 5. At the 22-yard line, John Whitman, the rookie from Penn State, number 38, has checked in for Bettis. And this is Whitman running well, accelerating, has the first down across the 35-yard line. He went for 14, stopped by Lawyer Malloy and Willie Clay.
Hey, remember something like Bill Cowher told Jim Gray earlier, coordination and timing of the plays. That also applies to offense and the blocking up front. And here, look at the blocking by Strolzik and Dawson. That's coordination.
You know, they told us yesterday that John Whitman reminded him a little bit of Bettis. You could see it right there in that run.
He's a guy who likes to pound the defenders the way Bettis does. More of a fullback than a tailback. Tomczak able to find the tight end Botkin, who is reaching for the marker. Mark Wheeler on the stop. Kirk Botkin with his 2nd catch of the game.
You can see the energy level actually coming up now with the Steelers. They're starting to do some things, mixing their plays up and making things happen after the play. Look at the reach right there, just making something else. More effort showing up.
And a 1st down at the 47-yard line. Jerome Bettis remaining on the sideline. A question mark coming into today because of that groin injury. Tomczak getting the protection, sets up the screen for Whitman. Well covered, though, by the Patriots. Stopped at the 45 by Wheeler. All right, for more on Jerome Bettis, who is over at the bench area, let's go to Jim.
All right, well, Marv, he also had a bad right ankle, which he twisted a couple of weeks ago, a couple plays ago. He twisted it again, re-aggravated it. told the trainers he's all right and he should be able to return.
Marv. Dick will be here next week, Jim, for the AFC Championship game.
It's been a long week for Jim.
Jim has no idea where he is today in the fog. A second down and 12 at the 45. Draw play does not work. Whitman is stopped in his tracks.
And it's McGinnis that gets the Marv. Watch McGinnis come off the near corner. Lined up in his pass rush position. Arm rip under Jackson. Forget about it.
I tell you, all day today, the combination of Willie McGinnis and Chris Slade has paid off for Bill Parcells. It's a little coaching decision he made going into this ball game. Slade over Dwayne's side.
Third down and 16 for the Steelers from their 41. Willie McGinnis with 9.
Combination of Willie McGinnis and Chris Slade has paid off for Bill Parcells. It's a little coaching decision he made going into this ball game. Slade over Dwayne's side.
Third down and 16 for the Steelers from their 41. Willie McGinnis with 9.5 sacks for the season. Tomczak trying to run out of trouble and is hit down at midfield. Well short of the first down. Picked up 10 on the play. Met by the left corner, Ty Law. And once again, the busy Josh Miller will come into punt.
You know, Bill Cowher said coming out of the second half, told Jim Gray that they can't give up any more big plays. Well, they can't give up any more big plays on defense as well. You know, when they're on offense, when the defense is making a big play, that's just as damaging as when the offense makes a big play against you.
Well, they need two things. They need somebody to really start getting it going on offense, and they need to attack like a dog on defense. They got to have big plays in their D.
8th punt of the day for Miller. Meggett is back. And dives to make the catch. Very tricky out there now. 35-yard punt. Patriots back to the offense. They lead it 21-0. 9:31 remaining in the third quarter. New England 21 and Pittsburgh nothing. As the Patriots start out 1st and 10 from their 15-yard line. On the draw, Curtis Martin, stopped by the nose tackle, number 93, Joel Steed. Well, Drew Bledsoe able to connect on his first 7 passes. A terrific start, but he has missed on 8 of his last 9. He's been incomplete, so 8 of 16, 127 yards. Overall, this has been a career season for Drew. 27 touchdowns, 3rd best in the NFL. His last 2 games, though, unimpressive in Dallas. Had a tough first half against the Giants 2 weeks ago and then turned it around, and he's been hearing it all week that here's another big game and he has to prove himself. Terry Clem, the intended receiver. Bill Johnson got a piece of it.
And Marv, Jason Gilden was right there too, the linebacker. You talk about Drew Bledsoe. Yes, he passed the test in Part A, but I tell you what, there's plenty of time to flunk some tests here as the ball was tipped. Look at what a morsel was in front of that linebacker, Sam.
Well, a pass he shouldn't have thrown. The tip, of course, makes it look even worse. But you've got to be careful down here that you don't give Pittsburgh a chance to get back in the game without earning it.
3rd down and 7. They're at their 18-yard line. And Bledsoe completes to Ben Coates for the first down. Tackled by Figures and Oldham.
Ben Coates had a big game against them last year, 11 receptions. This time he's the primary receiver. Just a little read, outbreak. It's a timing throw all the way. And he catches that. Tight ends catch a lot of balls in their body because of the nature of the patterns they run. But watch this. All hands right there pulling that one in.
And Sam, the reason a tight end is able to catch 96 balls as he did a couple years ago is he catches a lot of them with his hands and doesn't let them bounce off his chest first.
1st and 10 for the Patriots at their 26-yard line. The pitch, fake reverse, and it is Meggett. On the carry. Check that. Martin stopped by Henry and Kirkland.
You know, getting back to Drew Bledsoe just a second. Bill Parcells called him in the office this week, sat him down and said, look, don't be worried about this big game, big play. You've got to make things happen.
Just play your football game. You've won big games. You haven't failed at the big games. Just because they lost a couple of games along the way, those become big games that are lost.
But how much of that is Bill Parcells trying to pump his young guy up going into a playoff game?
A lot of it, and it's deserved. That's what he should be doing.
2nd down and 5. Yes, Bill changing the approach with Drew Bledsoe in recent weeks. And Bledsoe able to complete to Sean Jefferson, who was covered by Rod Woodson. It is another New England first down. First catch for Jefferson.
Excuse me, he is a winner. This guy wins football games. Got 11 wins against the 5 losses. You can't have 11 wins without having some big wins along the way.
And also, when you look at Drew Bledsoe for the rest of this afternoon, because you know Pittsburgh's going to come after him, they are going to blitz him, and watch him in the pocket and how he stands in there. He was blitzed a lot in those 5 losses where his numbers didn't look good.
It is a 1st and 10 at the 40-yard line. And Bledsoe's pass intercepted, picked off by Chad Brown.
And this is exactly what Bill Parcells wants Drew Bledsoe to do right now. You're not talking about not losing a football game. You're talking about keeping your composure, staying within the design of the plays, and not throwing an interception, a turnover that puts them back into place.
But watch what Chad Brown does, Sam. I mean, there's certain passes you try to fit into a slot, and there's other passes you try to put up with a peanut vendor. No one is around that one. That one belongs up with a peanut vendor.
2nd interception thrown by Bledsoe, is facing the pressure from number 93, Joel Steed, and a first down at the New England 37-yard line. Tomczak off the pump fake. Oh, a leaping catch by Andre Hastings in front of the strong safety, Lawyer Malloy.
Okay, we're watching experience jump right in the middle of this football game right now. The Steelers have been outplayed to this point, but experience will keep you in the ball game. Veteran teams stay in the ball game all 4 quarters, and they make a play like this. One play like this can turn it all around.
And one thing playoff games are about, it's not making mistakes and intangibles. An intangible is body language. The Steelers are bouncing.
23-yard hookup and a first down at the New England 14-yard line. Tomczak off the roll with the shovel pass to Bettis. And Bettis able to break tackles. Gets inside the 15-yard line. Taken down by Ty Law.
Marv, you called that perfectly. I mean, this guy's got no business not losing a yard or 2 on that play. I mean, this is set up all right by Pittsburgh, but it's defensed very well by New England. I mean, there's not great blocking out in front. He should be down right around here.
Let's add one more compliment. This guy's playing in a lot of pain. I'll guarantee he's in more pain now than he was at the beginning of this game.
2nd and 9 at the Patriot 13. Tomczak able to swing it, but excellent coverage on Bettis. Did not shake off the Patriots. Willie McGinnis, number 55, able to bring him down.
You notice a sense of urgency now from the Steelers. You know why? You mentioned the pain of Jerome Bettis. If you don't win this game, and they know it, they got 6 months to heal up and get ready. It's instant elimination.
Chad Brown on the sideline is watching. They're in the ballgame. A veteran football team, if you're on the bench and your counterpart is out there, you're just like they are. Your heart's in it all the way.
And Kordell Stewart is now in the ballgame. 4.5 left in the 3rd quarter. Stewart off the roll. Couldn't find anyone. And the series of fakes do not work. Chris Slade cut him off.
You have to go for it on 4th down now. In the first half, I thought they should have kicked the field goal, come away with some points. This time they're making the decision. I would have been in the first half, and they're going to kick the field goal.
Now they're going to kick. Bill Cowher made that decision, and yeah, they should have put the points up. And here, Sam, I think you get those points. You got to have something. They need something, kind of like rock climbing. They need that little ledge to get the fingers on before you try to pull the rest of the body up.
The argument on the other side, though, there's 4 minutes left in this quarter. They got to get more than just 3.
29-yard attempt for Norm Johnson last week against the Colts. He hit a 50-yarder, longest of his season, and this one is good. Norm Johnson from 29 yards away, putting Pittsburgh on the scoreboard.
This is the NFL on NBC.
Well, for the Pittsburgh Steelers, it is their first road playoff game since the 1993 season when they faced Kansas City at Arrowhead and lost. It has not gone well here today in Foxborough, although a moment ago Norm Johnson did kick that 29-yard field goal. They are trailing 21-3. Meggett and Brown are back. And here's Troy Brown with the return. He broke tackles working across the 35. A 28-yard return by Brown. It was stopped by Corey Holiday. We'll be back in a moment.
Wing comes underneath. Tomczak comes around, and he was going out for a pass. It was going to be a throwback.
It's important to note here that only if you're in the shotgun are you an eligible receiver if you've handled the ball first. You can't be under center and do it. They were in the shotgun that time. As you see, when Kordell Stewart looked back, there was nothing there. He had to run.
And Chad Brown, he talked about him rooting for Bettis. He knew something was up, and it just wasn't enough something.
Down in
well put. And Bledsoe is taken down by Orpheus Roy, the 6th-round draft pick, rookie from Florida State. Second sack of the day for the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Just what this team needs on defense is an executed blitz and stunt that works effectively. That's exactly what that was.
The Patriots said they spent 60% of their practice time on the blitz. Well, right now is when they're going to get a chance to see if they've got it down pat.
They're going to see 90% blitz from here on out.
Absolutely.
Patriots 2nd and 17 back at their 32-yard line. Draw play for Byers. And just a short pickup. Keith Byers, Jason Gilden, Orpheus Roy combined to make that stop.
Guys, did you hear the sideline of Pittsburgh? They're screaming, get the ball, get the ball. That's another thing we'll see a lot of. This defense will start trying to strip and rip balls out to try to get a turnover.
And the way they do that is the first man making contact tries to stand the ball carrier up. Second and third people come in and try to take the ball away.
Bill Cowher, born and bred in Pittsburgh, 5 for 5. 5th season as head coach of the Steelers. 5 winning records, 5 playoff appearances. 3rd down and 16 at the 33. Meggett in motion. And the play is blown dead.
On the offense, that's a 5-yard penalty, still 3rd down.
40-second clock just ran out on him that time. And just a moment ago, we saw that steal the ball attitude that the Pittsburgh Steelers are going to have the rest of the way. They actually should have had it from play 1. We could hear them up here yelling, steal the ball, steal the ball. First guy stacks him up. Can't hold him up very long right there, but we'll see him actually try to hold the ball carrier up so the other guys can get to it.
3rd down and 21 at the 28-yard line. Bledsoe throwing across the field, able to complete to Sean Jefferson, but he is stopped. Chad Brown, Willie Williams combined to make the tackle, and the Patriots forced to punt. Tom Tupa with his 5th opportunity of the day. Well, the fog did lift momentarily, and now it is making its way right back. It's 48 degrees here in the New England area. It has been a heavy fog most of the game. A minute and a half left in this 3rd quarter. And Tupa getting the hang time, handled by Arnold. Shaheen Arnold has nowhere to go. 42-yard punt and a 6-yard return. New England up 21-3. Well, the man they call Slash, Kordell Stewart, not able to get anything going to this point. Mike Tomczak is the quarterback. He's 11 of 18 for 75 yards. He has not been able to get anything going. They start from the 36-yard line. And Tomczak's pass picked off by Lawyer Malloy. The strong safety, Lawyer Malloy, with the leaping interception. The pass intended for Andre Hastings.
And if you were listening at halftime, Jim Harbaugh said the reason he thought Tomczak was going to be in the game was he's not afraid to jam in the ball. Well, here's what happens when you jam it in the wrong place.
Lawyer Malloy got a great jump on that ball right there. Had 2 interceptions during the regular season, and this time he just had anticipates the throw. It's a roll-up. You can see Ty Law's running with him, but he has safety help.
A minute 20 to go in this third quarter. And Drew Bledsoe and the Patriots back on the field. 1st and 10 from the 39-yard line. Curtis Martin with a change of direction, met by Jason Gilden and Jerry Olszewski. There's Lawyer Malloy, rookie from the University of Washington, a second-round draft pick, took over as the starter at strong safety midway through the season.
And the rarest, Marv, of a rookie defensive back that's an impact player defensively, makes the big plays.
2nd and 7 at the 42, final minute of the third quarter. Martin on the slant, able to break a tackle and reaches out for the first down. Oliver Gibson, Jerry Olszewski, Kevin Henry all involved on that stop.
And they all seem to have at least one shot, at least with an arm at him during that time. He just wouldn't go down.
You know, the interception of Tom's Hag by Lawyer Malloy, it was a gamble too early. They don't have to gamble just this early, but it lets everything out of the air, you know, lets the bubble burst a little bit. And you can see the defense kind of falling back into the way they played a lot during the first half.
And that's the end of the third quarter. They're waving the pom-poms here in Foxborough. We'll return after these messages from your local station. This is the NFL on NBC.
Dateline Sunday. This telecast is presented by the authority of the National Football League and is intended for the private use of our audience. Any rebroadcast or other use of this telecast without the express written consent of the NFL is prohibited.
Welcome back to Foxborough. Well, today the National Football League hosted the national finals of the 1996 NFL Gatorade Punt, Pass, and Kick program. Let's go down to the field now for the presentation of awards to the 8 national champions.
Once again, ladies and gentlemen, announcing the champions for the night.
Took part in this competition, Randy, but he's a former quarterback, but only entered the punt and kick phase, refused the pass sequence.
I had my hands over my ears. I don't know what you said.
We are on to the fourth quarter with New England leading Pittsburgh 21-3. And it has come down to this for Bill Cowher and the Steelers. The winner of this divisional playoff will go out of the AFC Championship game here on NBC next Sunday, facing the Jacksonville Jaguars. Bledsoe took a pop as he completes, finding Sean Jefferson. It all starts next Sunday, 3:30 Eastern Time, right here on NBC. Jefferson with his third catch. It is just shy of a first down.
And what a difference, too. You saw Bledsoe. He stood in there like a rock. He saw that blitz coming. It was right in his face, and he delivered that ball perfectly to Jefferson.
2nd down and 1 at the 41-yard line. New England, 290 total yards. They got to it right at the start. First 2 series jumping in front, 14-0 early. So a lot of jumping. There's the flag. Curtis Martin, the ball carrier, met by Jerry Olszewski and Carnell Lake.
And we're starting to see more blitz. But, you know, I'm a believer that it's the best combination of players.
On the defense, number 91. That's a 5-yard penalty resulting in a first stop.
The best combination of players win games on either side of the ball. Brinson Buckner is out of this ball game. Bill Johnson has 1 assist in the entire ball game. Buckner is like the coach on the field. He kind of organizes. Even a blitz like that is something that he would organize. The other thing that I think is happening, too, is Bledsoe's doing a great job with the snap count. He's not letting them get in rhythm.
Oliver Gibson was called on that penalty. A first down at the 36. Martin. Curtis Martin, who has run so well, stopped by Jason Gilden. Curtis Martin grew up in Pittsburgh, rooted for the Steelers as a youngster. But he liked to watch running backs like Walter Payton and Tony Dorsett, and there are similarities to the style of Dorsett and Curtis Martin, the way Martin is so elusive, so shifty.
Sort of the glider type. You know, they don't so much tear into a hole as they just sort of be there and then explode.
133 yards, 16 rushes, 2nd down and 5 at the 31. And again, it is Martin. And has a first down. Perry and Olszewski on the tackle.
This is when championship teams start to show their championship quality. They have a lead. It's in the fourth quarter. They're using all the clock, and they're keeping it on the ground, and the defense knows they're going to keep it on the ground, and they still make yards.
And he makes those yards behind a veteran offensive lineman. William Roberts pulled from that left guard position, and you didn't see much being there, but you saw a lot of that speed and explosion when he ran through it.
140 yards on 17 carries, including 2 touchdowns for Martin. And the Patriots have a first down at the Steeler 23. Martin, what a move! Curtis Martin in for his 3rd touchdown.
I tell you what that sets up as. That play was stuffed onside, Sam. Darren Perry blitzed from his strong safety position, got way upfield, and couldn't cut that cutback off. And now it's just explosion and speed, and that's worst case scenario. That's a series of nails in the coffin for the Steelers.
They gambled on offense, they had the interception, they gambled with the blitz, and the Pats broke it.
And here's Adam Vinatieri. He adds the extra point. Another look at the moves by Martin. 23 yards for the touchdown, his 3rd of the day. Only the 2nd playoff game the Patriots have ever hosted, and they are in command over the Pittsburgh Steelers. The kickoff from Vinatieri. Kordell Stewart is back, along with Ernie Mills. Fake handoff on a reverse, but Mills holds onto the ball. And that's the best return of the day for the Steelers. Vinatieri, the kicker, had to make the stop. What a day for Curtis Martin. 164 yards on 18 carries, 3 touchdowns. That is first from short range. And now with a beautiful move, Martin was able to go 78 yards to extend to a 21-0 lead. And just moments ago, 23 yards on the ground to extend to 28-3 Patriots. And the completion to Ernie Mills. Remember last year, after Curtis Martin got off to a good start first couple of games, and Bill Parcells said, hey, let's not induct him to the Hall of Fame in Canton, not just yet.
Well, let me just tell you, we see one expression there with Bill Cowher and Greg Lloyd. The other expression with Bill Parcells is what makes all of the hard times worth it. Those moments after a big play.
2nd and 3 at the 47-yard line. McAfee getting the call.
Leading into this game, guys, everybody talked about a great offensive line, and it was Pittsburgh's. Everybody talked about a great defense, and it was Pittsburgh's. Everybody talked about an unbelievable running back having a little injury problem. It was Jerome Bettis, and it was Pittsburgh's. For the Pittsburgh Steelers, the wrong everything has showed up today.
And on the first down play from the 48-yard line, that was nearly picked off by Otis Smith. Well, this is a Pittsburgh team that won big last week, able to explode in the second half to knock off the Colts in the playoff game, but they had dropped 3 of their last 4 regular season games and did not score more than 17 points in each of those last 4 games. So they have been struggling coming into the playoffs. 2nd and 10 at the 48. 11:24 remaining in the 4th quarter. McAfee, the intended receiver. Fred McAfee, the 6-year man from Mississippi College, noted in the past for the most part for his special teams play.
And they continue to struggle. This ball just gets away. 4th quarter for Mike Tomczak is not his strong suit. a 44% completion and the rating of 38. That's way down. I can just tell you this, that it's important for the playoff teams to be playing well at playoff time, not to be playing well at any other time during the season. The Pittsburgh Steelers are just having a rough day.
Mike Tomczak tailed off after a good start earlier this season. 3rd down and 10 is completed but short of the first down. The catch by Mills in front of Henderson.
And if you're handing out, you know, accolades of what's happened so far, you can get carried away. And Curtis Martin's played great, and so has his offensive line. And Drew Bledsoe stepped up. Let's not forget about the invisible men. That New England defense has been a huge factor in this ball game.
Well, the Steelers on a 4th down and 3 going for it. Tomczak able to complete to McAfee, has a first down and taken out of bounds at the 31 by Henderson, and Brown picked up 9.
We're in 4-down territory for the rest of the game unless they're really backed up. Got to score a lot of points, and they're going to be in the air. This gives the defense, those invisible men that you referred to, a chance to abandon the run worry and just go right after that quarterback.
And Tomczak's pass complete, a hard hit put on Jaheen Arnold by Otis Smith.
You know, and also, though, guys, at what point do you get maybe a little bit too soft defensively? You've gotten to this point by attacking an offense that didn't expect to be attacked, and Bill Parcells' defense right now, the last few plays, has looked a lot softer in the zone look.
You saw the expression on Bill Parcells' face? Expression on all coaches' faces. It never changes. You stay tough. He'll make sure they stay tough.
2nd and 10 at the Patriot 31. And Tomczak's pass is caught at the 25 by Hastings.
I thought, excuse me, Marv, I thought Bill Parcells made a interesting observation that happiness is a relative term to coaches at this time of the season, and it is to all coaches. You're never happy enough.
3rd down and 4. Andre Hastings stopped by Corwin Brown, but it is a first down for the Steelers.
So you're saying that, though, outside he's looking, oh no, inside he's going, oh yay, yay.
Well, does that look like the face of the coach leading 28-3?
And a first down at the 20-yard line. McAfee with a short pickup. Going to be a 2nd and 5 down at the 15-yard line. 9 minutes and 15 seconds remaining in this 4th quarter. Tomczak's pass intended for Corey Holiday. 2nd-year man from North Carolina, had only 1 reception during the regular season. It brings up a 3rd down and 5 at the New England 15-yard line.
There's still a lot of time in this ball game right here. Just keep working and get another score and see what happens in this thing. This is not desperation, Hail Mary time yet.
Now, they're still at the stage, Sam, where they're looking for a matchup.
11th play of the drive. And Tomczak is hit hard and is picked off. Intercepted by Willie Clay. Oh, he took a shot. And Willie Clay was fielding that blue pass.
Wow, just when we were saying, oh, they're looking soft, they were in a 3-man line before, here they come, right at the right time. The very end into the back of the legs.
Just lays that ball up there. I thought he got hit right as he released it. It took something off the ball, but I believe he got the ball off clean. There's pressure on him. There's pressure coming. Let's see if he gets the ball off or if he gets tagged. Yeah, it does. It gets him right from behind. And that leaves the ball in the air way too long for Willie Clay.
9:04 remaining in the 4th. Capacity crowd, better than 60,000 turning out as the New England Patriots are looking to advance to the AFC Championship game, winning a playoff game for the first time in 11 years. The Jacksonville Jaguars waiting in the wings. Mario Greer Getting the call for the first time, stopped by Brown and Kirkland. A moment ago, the interception by Willie Clay.
Straight drop back pass, just gets pressure from the backside, which takes everything off the throw. Willie Clay actually catches this one in the end zone. Could have taken a knee. I think he thought he might run that one all the way back.
And there's he's congratulating Dwayne Saab, the linebacker from the backside that got into the back of Tom Zach's legs.
Willie Clay, one-time member of the Detroit Lions, 5th season from Georgia Tech, 2nd and 9 at the 16-yard line with 8 minutes and 20 seconds to go in the 4th. Again, Mario Greer, a rookie, a 6th-round pick out of Tennessee, Chattanooga. The Patriots using him at both fullback and running back, averaged just under 4 yards per carry during the regular season. And it brings up a 3rd and 6 at the 19-yard line as time is winding down on the Pittsburgh Steelers, and a host of questions with a number of free agents following this season. There's the big one, Jerome Bettis, who was very quick to point that out to us last night, that he is an unrestricted free agent. Off the play fake, Bledsoe finds Byers, and he has a first down. Met by Woodson and Olszewski.
You have to be impressed with the poise and the cool and the execution of this offense for the New England Patriots. When they've needed to make something happen, they have made something happen.
Using all of the clock, all the 40 seconds. You know, going back to the free agency situation with the Pittsburgh Steelers, it seems like every year they have that. Last year, of course, Neil O'Donnell, Kevin Green, they come back and find a way to win.
Chad Brown, don't forget the linebacker Chad Brown's a free agent.
And a 1st and 10 at the 28-yard line. And this is Curtis Martin, who has had a terrific day. Well, 2nd down and 8 at the 30-yard line. On the subject of the Pittsburgh Steelers, the other major factor is they were hit with a number of key injuries this season. Right from opening day when Greg Lloyd went down for the season. Mario Greer stopped back behind the line. Lloyd getting hurt against Jacksonville in the season opener. Ray Seals, torn rotator cuff. Yancey Thigpen. Tight end Mark Bruner out. Ernie Mills missed a good portion of the season, coming back from knee surgery. Running back Eric Pegram, who opened up the year alternating with Jerome Bettis, also injured. So it's been a very difficult stretch, yet the Steelers have managed to go 10 up and 6 down in the regular season and making it to the playoffs. 3rd down and 8 at the 30. .5:25 remaining in this 4th quarter. This is Meggett. And the Patriots just trying to run the clock down. Steed and Kirkland combined to make the stop.
We're going to start to see some substituting here too, Marv, because this is that time of the game that you start to save a few people for next week.
Timeout is called by the Steelers. New England 28, Pittsburgh 3. On the return, up to the 25. And carries across the 30, taken down by Todd Collins. 51-yard punt, 10-yard return. But here is Bernie Kukar. It is against the Patriots.
Illegal motion, number 15 on the kicking team, moving forward at the snap. The penalty is declined. First down.
Well, Ray Lucas has done a good job in coverage. Scott Zolak limbering up and apparently getting set to come on for Drew Bledsoe. Scott Zolak, 6th year out of Maryland. Bledsoe's numbers, 14 of 24, 164 yards, 1 touchdown, picked off twice. Certainly did the job. All the questions coming into today. Opened up red hot, completing his first 7 passes, got the Patriots off to the big lead early. Kordell Stewart is back at quarterback. It is incomplete.
Marv, you talked about Drew Bledsoe. You know, what really impressed me about him today is, sure, he made a couple of mistakes on those little screen passes that were intercepted, but played very well within himself. Never at any point was he trying to force things or really step out there and say, I got to do this. He never did that. He stayed inside.
Well, Kordell is now 0 for 5, Kordell Stewart. And Mike Tomczak not able to get anything going. A second down and 10 at the 30-yard line. We're just under 5 minutes left in this fourth quarter. Stewart facing the pressure and try to run it out of trouble as submarine across the 35 by Jerome Henderson.
As you watch this, you wonder if this is the future look of the Pittsburgh Steelers right here with Kordell Stewart as their quarterback from the get-go. And next year they'll have a training camp. They'll have competition at quarterback like all teams do. But I would think he has the pole position going into camp next year.
Remember, they opened the season in Jacksonville with Jim Miller as the starting quarterback, and then Bill Cowher made the change to Mike Tomczak, who played well in the early going. A little mix-up there as the pitch goes to Whitman, and he's taken down by Corwin Brown.
You know, guys, one thing we have to think back to was the beginning of the game. This is a quarterback for New England in Bledsoe and a defense that came in with kind of not a chip on their shoulder, but they had something to prove in a big game, because we talked a lot about, you know, challenge games and how they haven't done much, and they haven't done much at all in the big games. And, boy, this team has stepped up and proven that they belong in big games.
Remember when you asked Drew Bledsoe about the blitz? He said,
blitz? What blitz?
What are we talking about here? He has matured, that's for sure.
And here's Josh Miller punting to Dave Meggett. 42-yard punt by Miller. New England 28, Pittsburgh 3. We'll be right back. Welcome back to Foxborough. Marv Albert, Randy Cross, Sam Weiss, Jim Gray, Beasley Reese on the sideline, and Scott Zolak has joined us on the field, taking over for Drew Bledsoe with 4 minutes remaining in this fourth quarter, and Mario Greer gets the call. Well, the challenge coming into today, Drew Bledsoe had not played well in the so-called big games against Denver and Dallas late in the season, and we talked about that regarding today's game. And we'll get to that response in just a moment. 2nd and 9 at the 23-yard line with 3.5 to go in this fourth quarter. Scott Zolak, who has been New England's backup since back in 1991. Here's Mario Greer, taken down by Olszewski and Henry. Here's the response by Bledsoe regarding stepping up for the so-called challenge games.
I've got to step up, and you know, that's how you judge. How do you play in a big game? And so you know, I've got to play my best when these opportunities arise.
Well, he certainly did make the move in that direction today. 14 of 24, 164 yards and a touchdown. Got it going early with that 53-yard completion to Terry Glenn. They led 14-0 early in the first, 21-0 at the half, and they are leading here 28-3 as they look ahead to the Jacksonville Jaguars next Sunday in the AFC Championship game, and it will be played here in Foxborough. One of the other factors here today, home field advantage for next week. Now, Jacksonville and New England did meet back on September the 22nd. The Patriots jumping to a 22-0 lead here in Foxborough, but were victimized by a couple of Hail Marys, one at the end of each half. At overtime, it was Adam Vinatieri who was able to pull it out. Vinatieri kicking his 5th field goal to give the Patriots the win, 28-25. So they had to hold on for the victory. Some of the numbers back on September the 22nd. Bledsoe 27 of 44, 255 yards in a duel with Mark Brunell, who went 23 of 39, 432 yards.
And Brunell put those great numbers up yesterday against Denver. Natron Means, who wasn't much of a factor in that game, if at all, was a huge factor yesterday. the challenges don't get any smaller for the defense of the New England Patriots.
And Zolak to the sideline for Byers. Kirkland able to make the stop. Well, next Sunday, right here on NBC, starting 3:30 Eastern Time, coverage begins with Ray Gumbel, Chris Collinsworth, Mike Ditka, Joe Gibbs, and Ahmad Rashad previewing the big game. The AFC Championship game next Sunday right here. Dick Enberg, Paul McGuire, Phil Simms will bring it to you from Foxborough. Gene Arnold back, 7th punt for Tom Tupa as we approach 2 minutes remaining of the game. And Arnold is taken down at the 37-yard line, hit down by Todd Collins. 38-yard punt, short return. And so Pittsburgh back to the offense.
You know, Marv, we were talking a little bit earlier about Jerome Bettis and all the free agents that come due at the end of every year. And with free agency, every team is going to have 6, 7, 8 players that they'd like to have back, but they're not going to be able to keep them. But Jerome Bettis is one of those key players. You've got key players on every team. Well, here's one of them. He's injured today. They haven't had a good day. That's a factor. It's part of the reason.
Well, remember, he came into this season, if he got 1,200 yards rushing or more, he became an unrestricted free agent and was a meal ticket getting a run behind that offensive line of the Steelers.
And today, Bettis carried 13 times for 44 yards, and obvious pain from that groin injury. Pass intended for Arnold, but what a year it's been for Bettis. Very nice to be an unrestricted free agent as he finished 3rd in the NFL in rushing, 1,431 yards. Acquired from the Rams back on draft day. Coming off the disappointing season, his first 2 years with the Rams, he was Pro Bowl. He's back to the Pro Bowl this season. 2nd and 10 at the 38-yard line with 2:15 remaining. Kordell Stewart able to break a tackle and then works his way to the sideline at midfield for a first down. Chased out by Jerome Henderson. He went for 11 yards. Well, I guess with New England advancing and remaining alive for yet another week, it will put to rest the Bill Parcells speculation, at least for the moment.
You mean the ante might be going up?
That too. But certainly the speculation continues. Will he re-sign eventually with the Patriots? And it seems to have a domino effect. You get the idea there are a number of teams out there waiting to see which direction Parcells goes. Pass intended for Charles Johnson.
And it's not so much, Marv, that he is interested or possibly going to go there.
Right.
It's the other people involved around the league, or, whether it's one of his former assistant coaches, a Jim Fossil, or if it's all these other guys that are mentioned for head coaching jobs. It seems like those couple of key ones are holding on for him.
Well, his contract expires January 31st. He and owner Bob Kraft have not had a wonderful relationship, although both call it professional. And several teams extremely interested in seeing what direction Bill will go. Will he stay here? Will he head elsewhere? Andre Hastings on the reception. And there is the 2-minute warning. 28-3 the score. It is a 3rd down and 10 at the 48-yard line. A 28-3 lead for the Patriots, who are headed to the AFC Championship game. It is ruled incompleted. Kordell Stewart 0 for 9. And Bill Parcells congratulating his players. Well, with the dollar sign, save the tuna. There was a report in yesterday's New York Post that the Jets, now this is just a newspaper report, but it said the Jets are prepared to offer $10 million guaranteed for 3 years, and that would include total control of the operation. The Jets would not comment, and Bill Parcells would not comment. In fact, Bill has not been talking about these matters for the last couple of weeks.
So what you're trying to say is, as a hedge against inflation, tuna futures aren't bad.
That's a good way of putting it. Yes.
I'll put it another way. We talk about free agency in this league. We talk about the players. Coaches, if they're hot, when their contract is up, they are as sought after and as valuable as other free agent football players. And Bill Parcells is really finding himself in the ideal situation. His team's playing well. He's an excellent coach, obviously. But with that contract up, which he shortened a year ago with Bob Kraft, has certainly paid off for him.
Hey, what a great circumstance of the whole weekend. A great job by Bill Parcells and his staff here. And you can't say enough about the great job Tom Coughlin and his staff did yesterday in Denver. Talk about having two football teams ready to play, and they'll be butting heads next week.
And the Patriots taking over on downs. Tom Coughlin and Bill Parcells also have had a very close relationship over the years. How about the Patriots starting the season at 0-2? The Jaguars started at 3-6, and one of those two teams will make it to the Super Bowl. Down to a minute and 20. And the Patriots running the clock down. There is the owner of the New England Patriots enjoying the moments, Bob Kraft. Bob Kraft down on the field, as he has another home game coming up. The AFC Championship will be played here in Foxborough next Sunday.
You know, with all that excitement and the organization that Bob Kraft is building, the long term, you have this expression by Bill Cowher, a good year, a good football team. 5 years he's taken a team to the playoff, but a loss like this almost destroys all of those good memories, at least for the moment.
Well,
so final, isn't it, Randy?
Another late afternoon shot of a head coach in utter shock and disbelief. Yesterday it was Mike Shanahan. Today it's Bill Cowher, because he did not expect this type of performance specifically out of the offense and defense of the New England Patriots to dominate such as they have.
And the Patriots are headed to the AFC Championship game for only the second time in their history. They advanced to the AFC Championship game, winning a playoff game for the first time in 11 years. Led by Drew Bledsoe and Curtis Martin. Martin with 166 yards, 3 touchdowns. And time has run out on the Pittsburgh Steelers. Bill Parcells and his Patriots will face the Jacksonville Jaguars, who come off the stunner yesterday at Mile High in Denver. That is the AFC title matchup next Sunday, starting at 3:30 Eastern right here on NBC. A 28-3 pounding by the Patriots. Drew Bledsoe got it going early on that 53-yard pass to Terry Glenn, which led to the